The following program contains strong sexual content. Viewer discretion advised. Today on an all-new Dr. Phil, a protective grandmother.
I told her I cannot let you have your children.
A dangerous lifestyle.
You said you were punished daily. Heat would put you in an ice bath.
If I tried to get out, I would get pushed back in.
A dramatic confrontation.
What mother is going to hand over her grandkid to a daughter doing what you were doing?
Who are you to tell me what kind of example I'm for my kids? When have you been there for me?
Let's do it.
Have a good show, everybody. Here we go.
I hate to see people suffering, and you've hurt long enough.
Stand by, Dr. Phil.
I'm going to get you the help that you need.
5, 4.
This is going to be a changing day in your life. Take a look at this picture. What are the first thoughts that come to mind when you see this woman? She's pretty, right? She looks like a student. She appears happy. Well, how about these words? Prostitute, drug addict, and fugitive. For the past 4 years, that's how my first guest, Allison, described her 25-year-old daughter, Jamie. Now, Allison wrote to the show, sorry to say, 5 times, pleading for my help. Take a look.
I have written Dr. Phil at least 5 times trying to get help for Jamie. July 21st, 2010. My 21-year-old daughter left her 2 young children with me. She is living in hotels and is prostituting for a living. February 8th, 2011. I am afraid this continued behavior will lead to a stroke. October 7th, 2012. I need answers. August 20th, 2013. My daughter was on the wrong path in life. I will not let her have contact with her children until she seeks help and is better. Please, will you help us?
Well, in my defense, and I clearly need one, in the last 12 years, we have received 5 million letters. And we take them all very seriously and sort through them. Allison says she had no idea her daughter was selling herself on the streets, even though she met her daughter's pimp.
My daughter Jamie got pregnant at 16 and then again at 19. She got married to the father of both of her children. When my daughter's marriage fell apart, she took a turn for the worse. That's when everything started to change. I learned that my daughter had been leaving her children with her high school friend's mother for at least a period of 6 months or longer. I was completely shocked, and it was a month or 2 after that that I got the phone call from my daughter saying that this woman wanted to take custody of her children and that she was going to go to court. My daughter asked me to get involved. My granddaughters came to live with me that night. Shortly after the girls moved in with me, I learned that my daughter was involved in prostitution. It made me feel like a failure. I never thought in a million years that my daughter could be one of those girls, a prostitute.
Well, Allison became an instant mom to her 2 grandchildren. That's what happened here. That is until her daughter Jamie strolled back through the door and said, "Oh, ho, ho, these girls are mine."
The last 4 years that I've had my granddaughters living here has been both a blessing and a burden. The fact that she could take care of them, but she chose not to, that is what angered me. Her choice in life was to choose pimp over her children, and I told her, Jamie, if you choose this lifestyle, so be it, but I cannot let you have your children. She would come home, the kids were happy, everything was lollipops and cupcakes, and then bam, she's out the door again. The first time I got over it. The 4th, 5th, and 6th time, too much. She finally agreed to go to a rehab facility about 6 months ago. And so Jamie's been living here for the last 2 months. We have a power struggle regarding my grandchildren. I have set rules for my grandchildren. They get up at a certain time. They go to bed at a certain time. They clean up after themselves. They go to school. For all intents and purposes, I have been the mother. And all of a sudden, when Jamie comes back to the house, she wants to play mom. And I don't know how to get through to her that she is not the mom. She hasn't been there when their first tooth fell out. She wasn't there to potty train the youngest one. Jamie hasn't been here. Who has been here? I have been here. And for her to come in and just say, they're my kids, Mom, I do not accept that. These are my children right now. And until you earn them back, you will not get them back.
Well, you feel pretty strong about this, right?
I feel very strong about this. And sorry for crying, but just hearing that, it hurts so much. And Dr. Phil, I have to tell you, thank you so much for letting me be here today.
What hurts you about watching that? You said it hurts to hear that. What hurts you the most?
To realize that she's become what she's become.
Do you blame yourself for that in any way? You raised her. You're the mother.
Yes,
You're the
I
one
did.
that taught her values and boundaries and morals
Yes,
and
I did.
installed that compass. What's your ownership in this?
My ownership is, in Jamie's eyes, I wasn't the mother that she wanted me to be. And I can say with certainty that I wasn't the best mother, but I wasn't the worst either. I have 2 other children, both raised with the same people. They're fine. One is older, one is younger. What happened to Jamie? I don't know, and that's why I'm here, for answers to that question.
Well, here's the thing. She now has said she's straight and good and wants her kids back.
Yes.
But she's living in your home.
She is.
Okay, so what does that mean, I want my kids back? She's living with you.
This isn't the first time I've heard this. I've heard this for 5 years. In and out, come and go. I want to stay. Mom, I want to turn my life around. And the kids get all excited. I get all excited. And then, bam, the 2 of us have an argument, and bam, she's out the door again. She never wants to commit. She never wants to do the work to get these girls back.
So why not give her children back? They're her children. She's the biological mother. Why not give her back?
I have struggled with that question, and the answer is pretty obvious. She's a prostitute. She lived with a pimp. How do I know that she's not going to go back into that lifestyle?
How did you find out that she had turned to prostitution to get by?
The first clue was when I had met her boyfriend who turned out to be her pimp, and
she brought him home to meet Mom.
She brought him home to meet Mom, because this is after.
Why do you do that? Why do you, if you're a prostitute and you've got a pimp, why bring him home to meet Mom?
I guess she thought that I wouldn't figure it out. Do I look stupid?
No.
Thank you.
What have you learned about him since? Was he around the children?
Well, he was the first pimp.
Right.
Mind you, there's been more.
Right, I understand.
I learned that he had been around the children, and guess who I heard it from? My oldest granddaughter, who was 4 at the time I took her, which means that Jamie had already started this behavior prior to the girls coming to my home.
Okay. So
And this guy had been at the house. The police had been called several times, according to my granddaughter. Mind you, she's 8 now. She was 4 then. But she was 3 when she lived with her mother and saw this guy.
So how shocked were you to find out she was a prostitute?
I was shocked. Never in a million years would I have thought that my daughter could be involved in a world like that.
All right. Well, she left her children for a life of prostitution. When I say left, we'll define what that means. Now she wants them back. We're going to hear from Allison's daughter. We're going to get her side of this story when we come back.
I got involved with a pimp, and I remember that he told me in one night I could make $1,000. That meant prostituting. I didn't expect it to get to this point where I wouldn't be their mom, the main person in their life. I don't think prostitution is wrong.
And later,
You are not honest with me.
Because what are you going to do?
This is the first I'm hearing of this.
What are you going to do about it?
What am I going to do about it? I'm going to call the Dr. Phil show. That's what I'm going to do about it. I had already put in my time as a mother. I wanted to be a grandmother. All of a sudden, I'm hit with this burden. I didn't know Jamie was a prostitute with a pimp out on the street. It wasn't going to be a year. This was going to be an ongoing thing. It angers me.
well, Allison is angry that she has had to take on the responsibility of raising her grandchildren. Obviously, she loves them very much, But she's saying this was not my plan for this phase of my life. She had to do it after her daughter, Jamie, was lured into a dark world of drugs and prostitution, causing her to lose custody. Allison says Jamie now claims to be clean of her past life and wants her children back. Allison says, no, no, no. You have not proven that to me yet. Here's what Jamie has to say.
My life took a dramatic turn for the worse when I got involved with a pimp. We needed money, and I remember that he told me in one night I could make $1,000. That meant prostituting. This was my way to be able to support myself. I started working on the street, and then I moved to the internet. Wherever there was money, I would have to work all day and see between 10 and 15 people a day. It just depended on how much people were willing to pay. I've been arrested for prostitution probably 7 times. I started to use drugs. At first, marijuana, ecstasy, Adderall. It wasn't until I was about a year into the life that I started to use cocaine. I prostituted for almost 5 years. I was not 100% involved with my kids. I didn't want my kids in a hotel room or with me around that kind of thing. I didn't expect it to get to this point where I wouldn't be their mom, the main person in their life. I decided that I wanted to be with my girls on a more permanent basis. I checked myself into a local rehab and I got a job. I've been here at my mom's house for 2 months. I'm extremely angry with my mom. I'm really tired of being made to look like the bad guy. She definitely undermines me. My whole purpose is solely to get custody of my kids.
Well, Allison says Jamie even tried to convince her that it was okay to be a call girl and live with a pimp because it was the happiest that she had ever been.
From time to time, I think about what Jamie has gone through as a prostitute. I can't figure out why she would choose that life.
I don't think prostitution is wrong. It's not socially acceptable. Things happen between 2 consenting adults, and I don't think there's anything wrong with it.
Knowing that Jamie has allowed herself to be in positions where men can abuse her, rape her, possibly kill her, I can't figure out why. That was her choice.
There's different levels of pimps. Some of them abuse you, and there's other ones that try to elevate your life and help you get your life on the right track.
Trying to feel what she was feeling, very, very difficult for me. What mother is going to hand over her grandkids to a daughter who she knows is doing what you were doing?
Okay, Jamie, I'm glad you're here and you've been listening to the show so far, right?
Right.
You said that from like 09 through 13 that you were having sex with between 10 and 11 men a day, correct? And that would generate $1,000 to $1,500 a day?
Sexual contact, yes. Not necessarily sex.
$1,000 was your quota.
Yes.
And what happened if you didn't make the quota?
It started with verbal abuse, so just being told, you know, I'm stupid or I'm not good enough or what am I doing wrong, kind of pushing me to want to go make more money. So my hours got longer. Instead of working maybe just at night, I would have to work during the day also. And then it got to the point, once other women started getting involved in the situation, it got to the point where the abuse became physical because I was kind of put in the position to be made the example of what happens when you don't make enough money.
So what would happen? You get beat?
I wouldn't say beat, slapped. It started with slaps and it escalated to getting punched. If I was on the ground, it would be getting kicked.
So you don't call that beat, just getting slapped or kicked if you're on the ground. I mean, come on. You said you were abused. Sometimes you were punished daily.
Yes, that ranged from not being fed because obviously I was giving my money to this person. not being given any food for the day, being locked in my hotel room, being put into a bathtub with full of ice, where then if I tried to get out, because I was too cold, then yeah, I would get slapped or pushed back into the bathtub.
And you say would take your ID and your phone so you couldn't leave. I was wanting to kind of compare that to you saying that sometimes pimps are nice. They want to lift you up. They want you to become a better person and get your children back and that sort of thing. Where does that come in between the beatings and the ice baths and the hostage and the no food and taking all of your money and IDs and clothes and all? What part of that is to build your self-esteem?
That wasn't. That situation wasn't. That man wasn't. That he was the definition of what society looks at as a pimp, and he very well fit that definition.
That's the one that you introduced to your mother.
Right, I did.
And had around your children.
Before all of that started, yes, I did. I was naive to the situation. I didn't really understand what was going on until I got deeper into it.
Did you go 3 months without ever seeing your children?
Yes.
Well, let's talk about that after the break. We're going to find out why Allison got so fed up that she threatened to tell her grandchildren that their mother was a prostitute. We'll be right back.
I don't trust Jamie because for 5 years I've listened to lies, lies, and more lies.
She's waiting for me to mess up to the point where she would feel that kicking me out was the best option. But I do think that she needs to eventually let go of the past.
I would love to trust Jamie. I would love to like Jamie. Right now, I don't like her.
I feel like a hostage because if I don't do what she wants me to do, then I feel like she would kick me out.
I know that she feels like she's confined, like this is almost prison for her. But if her intention is to just pretend to do well so that one day she can walk out of here with her girls, all I can say is I will fight to the death to keep those girls here.
Well, that was Jamie, who says that she is a former prostitute, not a current prostitute, but a former prostitute, talking about how her mother's strict rules make her feel like a hostage in her home. Jamie says Allison refuses to let her make any decisions for her own children. She cannot even take her daughters for a play date without asking permission. Take a look.
Right. I do run a tight ship. I have rules in my house for Jamie.
She wants to know every single thing that I'm doing. She knows exactly when I should be at work, when exactly I should be off. You have more control over me now than when I was 14.
I know that. And you know why I have control? Because I took your kids. I'm glad that I did, and I'm glad I have control of your kids. She has to keep a job. She has to stay away from the people she was in contact with before. She needs to stay away from drugs.
I don't really feel like I have any type of privacy. She has told me that if I don't follow her rules, I will have to find another living situation.
If Jamie doesn't follow the rules, Jamie is out.
Well, what are the rules here? I've made a list of them. You say that she has to have a job that you approve of.
Not necessarily that I approve of, a job, a legal job.
Well, monitors where Jamie spends her money.
Yes, and there's a reason for that, a very good one.
You want her to take care of all of her court cases and warrants.
Yes.
Cannot get custody back until off probation.
Well, that is negotiable because
must get a driver's license and have some transportation, a car, save money to move in to own apartment.
Yes.
Stop communicating with friends and people from past lifestyle. Play dates and plans with daughters need to be approved by you.
Yes.
Okay, so you said there's a story behind this, why you monitor her money. What is it?
Yes. She's been with me for 2 months. 3 weeks ago, 3 o'clock in the morning, something woke me up. And for some reason, I don't know why, call it intuition, call it I still don't trust her. I went and looked in her room and she wasn't there, which means she hadn't come home from work. She gets off of work 12:30 at the latest.
What kind of work do you do?
I'm a hostess at a sushi bar.
Okay, and she says you have very controlling behavior. She's, for example, that you had Jamie sign custody of her daughters over to you.
I did.
Threatened to tell granddaughters that Jamie's a prostitute because she left rehab. Won't let Jamie see children again until 18 if she doesn't stick around and follow the rules. You say that she says that it needs to see every dime that goes in and out of Jamie's pocket. Refuses to give Jamie control of the children, says she can handle children better. Won't let Jamie take daughters anywhere alone or let Jamie's friends around them. When was the last time you were in contact with your most recent pimp?
I believe a couple weeks ago he contacted me.
A couple weeks ago?
If you would listen...
This is what I mean.
Did you give...
Honesty, Jamie. You are not honest with me.
Because what are you going to do? This is the first I'm hearing of this. What are you going to do about it?
What am I going to do about it? I'm going to call the Dr. Phil show.
All I have to do is ignore it. I'm being honest with him to let him know.
Ignore it?
I said all I have to do is ignore it. Because somebody contacted me.
But you didn't ignore it.
Yeah. What are you talking? You didn't even let us finish the conversation.
Okay, sorry.
What are you talking about?
I'm sorry, Dr. Phil, but this is the first I've heard that she was in contact with the better pimp. Excuse me.
Did you give this
You're
pimp...
acting much different. That
oh, really? Oh, really? No, these people mean nothing to me.
Listen.
They obviously do because you're acting much different.
Tell me this isn't me.
Different.
Really?
Yes.
Well, anybody that sees this show will say, gosh, Allison,
okay,
you
can
were
I talk to Dr. Phil, please? That's why I'm here, not to talk to you. I know how you feel.
Did you give your pimp $700 last month?
No, I did not. There was a man about
Who did you give $700?
He's a pimp, but he's not my pimp.
better pimp.
I didn't say he was better. Stop interrupting.
Did you give a pimp $700 last month?
I did, yes.
Why?
About three years ago, I was in a dangerous area up north in California. I was working on the streets. He kidnapped me for about, I think it was 3 days, until he ended up getting incarcerated. And I was scared of him. About 4 months ago, he found me. He contacted me and basically said, you know, don't forget, I have your address. I know where you live. I know where your kids live. And if you don't send me money on a weekly basis, then you'll see the repercussions of it.
And you couldn't come to me with this?
No, I couldn't come to you.
Okay.
What are you going to do?
All right, so basically, he's extorting money from you.
He was.
And threatening your children.
He was.
Okay. All right, we're going to find out why Jamie says an argument with her mother pushed her deeper into prostitution and drugs, and has her mother actually enabled some of this behavior? We'll be right back. What strikes me is you're saying you're so controlling. The last place you lived, they put you in an ice bath and beat the crap out of you if you didn't do what they told you.
I've never done that to you.
I feel like if my mom did not have custody of my kids, that I wouldn't have a relationship with her at this point. The sole reason I'm at my mom's house is because it enables me to be with my kids every day. Otherwise, I definitely would not be here.
Look, you at this point want what to happen?
I want to move forward. I don't expect for her to just sign anything over to me. I don't expect for me to just be able to have my children and everything's just magically better. I don't expect that. But I also don't think it's fair for you to expect for you to control every minute of my life.
You know what strikes me about that? And listen, I'm the least judgmental person that you will ever meet. And I have to tell you, I don't judge you for what you're doing. I think you're a victim in many respects here. I don't think that people wake up on a clear, bright, sunny day and rationally say, I think I'll become a prostitute and get beaten and abused and sell myself on the street every day. I don't think that's something you wanted to do. I think you got conned into it. I think drugs and alcohol were involved. I think a lot of things looked like a good idea at the time. And you made some really bad decisions. And I don't think that makes you a bad person. But what strikes me is you're saying, wow, you're so controlling. The last place you lived, they put you in an ice bath and beat the crap out of you if you didn't do what they told you.
I've never done that to you.
I mean, it would seem to me like this would be 12 days of Christmas.
Can you be quiet?
No.
Can you let him talk? Just be quiet.
I mean, really, realistically, I'm wondering what your judgment is at this point.
I'm thankful that I have someone who loves my children as much as my mom has come to love them. I appreciate that. But why are you intervening with me now? Why didn't you do this before?
Before what?
Why are you worried? Why were you not worried about I'm upset because you care more about my kids than you cared about me when I was young, when I was going through this, before I even got into this.
When did you start, Jamie?
Okay, listen, she's talking to you, listen.
Okay. Go on, I'm sorry.
Stop talking.
I've taken the criticism, I've taken being under the microscope the last 4 years that I've been making these horrible decisions, and I know, and it's like you think I don't know that I've messed up. It's my life. I know my life is in shambles. I know that. I'm scared that you're gonna tell me you can't. Okay, don't talk to the girls. You're a bad example for them. Who are you to tell me what kind of example I'm supposed to be for them? Where were you? Where were you? Where have you been? You've been there for my kids. When have you been there for me?
I've been there for you as, okay.
Why should I try to make anything better with you? I don't need to make it better with you. I need to make it better with my kids. And the only reason I need to make it better with you is because you have control and you use them as a control object. And I firmly believe that whatever you say on this show, I don't care what you say on the show, you did it for the best interest in them. Fine, say that. I have plenty of emails that I've given to them showing it's about money. It was about money. Now it's about love. It was about money. You told me you would take me to my client's house as long as I can give you this amount of money every month. That is enabling me. I'm not blaming you. I made the decision. But don't sit here and act like you've just been trying and trying and trying all these years. You haven't. You wanted to be my pimp, and then if I didn't have a pimp, you were going to be my pimp. Either way, I'm stuck. Somebody's pimping out my life. It doesn't matter, and that's why I don't care about this. I want help for myself. I want help.
You're in the right place. You are in the right place for that. So how is all of this affecting the children? We're going to talk about that next, and we're going to talk about what needs to start happening for this young woman to be everything that she can be. We'll be right back.
I don't trust Jamie because it's only been 3 weeks since her last episode of possibly leaving. She didn't go to work. She got a hotel room, and she's been giving somebody money every weekend because he threatened her and her children. She says it was a John. I don't know if it was a pimp. She gave him at least a minimum of $700. There is a chance that she may have gone back to prostitution that night. I just don't know.
Well, Allison says she refuses to give her daughter Jamie total control of her children because she believes Jamie, who is a self-professed former prostitute, is still communicating with the pimp and sending him money. She has said that is true, that she is being extorted now by someone she encountered in the lifestyle. Allison says her grandchildren have been acting out since her mother returned home. Take a look at the video that Allison shot, and then we're going to talk about what to do here.
I'm mad at Jamie because not only did I take on 2 grandchildren, I took on her oldest daughter. She has anger issues big time.
So this is how she acts, and we don't know what to do with her.
Jamie will either get her life together or she won't. Now my biggest concern is her oldest daughter.
Well, we're here talking about what to do, and I've got some serious reinforcements that I wanted to bring in to help the situation. First, Los Angeles-based family law attorney and child advocate Areva Martin says the allegations made by both Allison and Jamie suggest the children are in danger. So also with us is the medical director for the Los Angeles Department of Child and Family Services, DCSF, well-known author and a member of my advisory board, Dr. Charles Sophie. So please welcome Areva Martin, Charles Sophie. Areva, as a child advocate here, tell me what jumps out at you as the most burning priorities that need to be considered here?
The kids, Dr. Phil. We've been talking a lot about the issues between Jamie and her mom, but we're not hearing a lot about what's going on with these kids. And I'm very, very worried about them. I'm so happy. I'm sitting in the audience thinking, what a courageous thing you did to say that you want to focus on your life. And you need to focus on your life because your kids need you.
Dr. Sophie, what needs to happen here in order for her not only to have the right to be the driving force in these children's lives, but to be a good and solid driving force in these children's lives?
Well, I mean, that's really the real question. I mean, what is going to make her a safe and a solid parent? But I don't know about anybody else, but I get really angry when I listen to you. You're really anger-provoking because it's about you. You said something on that tape that was very disturbing to me. I did my time as a mother. I'm done. When? When are you done? Once a parent, I don't know about everybody else, but once a parent, always a parent.
Oh, no, I agree with that.
But you said that. You said that. How do you think that makes her feel? She just got done telling you, you love my kids more than me. Why does she get that feeling? That's the fix that has to happen for her to become solid and whole.
Jamie, you don't need your mother's permission to get your kids back. She doesn't control that. You control that. If you get yourself together, take care of your warrants, get housing, get in some therapy, you go into court and you get your kids back.
I'll tell you one thing. But for this woman stepping up and giving those children a safe environment, they would have been dumped into foster care, and we know that situation is broken. So you may not be doing everything exactly right, and I don't like everything I know about your parenting of her, and I don't like everything I know about your parenting now. But I know this. If she hadn't stepped up and taken those kids in, they would be in a hell of a mess right now, and you ought to thank her every day, whether you like every decision she makes or whether you don't.
I agree.
So we got to take a break. How does Jamie's father fit into all of this? We'll see what he has to say next. Jamie's father, Dave, says his daughter needs to face what she has done in her life and comes to terms with it before she is ready to have her children back. Dave is on the phone with us today. Dave, are you there?
Yep.
You've been listening to what we've been talking about. What did you want to add?
You know, I have to say, you just made the comment, if not for Allison, then the kids would be in a much worse spot, and I totally agree with that. But I also have to give credit to Jamie because I've watched her for the last several months since she's finally come back. And she has started to step up, but even with those things in place, there's still that barrier between Jamie and Allison, and that in the future is going to prevent any kind of benefit to the kids in turn.
Let me ask you, what role do you think, what responsibility do you think you have in the bad choices your daughter has made?
Well, I think both Allison and I had, you know, we were her parents. You know, we tried to be there when we could, but, you know, I mean, obviously in hindsight, which is 100%, we can see areas we could have gone back, and if we had known better, we would have stepped in earlier. We would have spoken up. We would have pursued certain avenues much more. We would have asked more questions that dug into her and said, what is this? Who is this? Who is this person?
Yeah, I appreciate it. Thank you very much, Dave. Look, let me start putting some verbs in my sentences here, okay? There are certain basics that you need to set as goals in your life. One is you need to make sure that you are drug and alcohol free. Mm-hmm. Are you drug and alcohol free right now?
I still smoke marijuana once in a while.
Okay. You need to not be dealing with any of that. Mm-hmm. And one goal is to recognize that you are very damaged. And I'm not saying this to hurt your self-worth or self-esteem. I'm just telling you, you are very damaged. I do think that you're suffering from anxiety. I know you're suffering from depression. It wouldn't surprise me if you're having panic attacks. And I would put PTSD on the short list because of all the trauma that you've had inflicted upon you across a short period of time. Over 4 years doesn't seem short, but I mean, it's been very concentrated. And I think you need help and treatment with that. And I am going to make certain that you have that professional help. And if that pimp contacts you another time, one time, then I want to know about it. Because me and law enforcement are like this.
Thank you.
And I will change his damn life.
Yes! Yes!
Okay?
That's what I'm talking about.
You are no longer lost and out there alone.
Yes.
Areva is going to help you as an advocate, to help you to get back with your children. Dr. Sophie is going to help you. We're going to do everything we can to surround you and get you where you walk into a room proud of who you are and proud of what you do, and look your children in the eye and say, I'm here to protect and lead you through this life. Now, Jamie says she would never endanger her children. She wants to know how she can convince her mother to trust her enough. I'm going to talk about that when we come back. Right now, I think your children are also traumatized, and they need some help as well, and we're going to step up and provide that help for them as well, okay? So we're going to bring an intervention team here. We're going to bring an intervention team here to start working with this whole situation with the goal of getting this relationship healed, getting your relationship with your children back to mother and child. And right now, you're not prepared to have these children back under your custody and control 100% at this point. And so we're going to move this forward. Okay? Does that sound like a reasonable plan to you?
Yes, thank you.
And, you know, that's going to require, you're going to have housing, you're going to have transportation, you're going to have a stable job, you're going to have all the things that it takes to provide for a family. But you can do that. Are you willing to do the work?
Yes.
And when I set up appointments for you, you want to show up. Okay? You want to show up, leaning into it, leaning forward, and doing the work that you need to do. You have a plan?
Yes.
Okay, eye contact, we have a plan.
Yes.
Okay. All right, I want to thank all of my guests today. A special thanks to family law attorney and child advocate Areva Martin and to Dr. Charles Sophie, medical director for the Los Angeles Department of Child and Family Services. And I also want to thank Doctor On Demand. It's a new app that Jay and I have created, and we use them to give us information when we need it with our guest. And if you want to have your own Doctor On Demand, you can go to Google Play or the App Store and download that app. We will see you next time. We have a plan here, and we'll follow up and let you know how all this is going. Okay? Thanks.